about the project analysis. Am I audible?
Yes, doctor, good morning.
Yes.
Okay, good morning. So, friends, so today we are going to discuss about one of the most important module, because any aspect of any type of project, any type of subject, or any type of problem, so which we are dealing, so all such type of things can be called as projects. Okay, so project means one type of problem, how it can be resolved. Okay, how it can be solved, what are the objectives which you can frame, what are the issues you can frame, what, how you can frame the different type of hypotheses, different type of methods which you can choose to um, e- examine or observe and project and forecast. So any of these type of techniques which you want to apply, so these are all how you want to forecast these things. So these are all which we can achieve under the umbrella of this project. Okay, that project we are going to analyze. Okay, what exactly the overall structure in this? So, what we are going to discuss in the coming 2 hours is that concept and significance of project, especially because this is going to be useful. So, we are under the agriculture development module. So that is why this analysis, the project analysis, also we are going to relate each and every aspect through the agriculture aspects. Okay, how these agriculture aspects can be resolved. There are different type of problems so which are come acrossing so in reaching the agriculture development. So in the process of agriculture development, what type of projects which we are going to take up, how we are going to resolve, what are the stages and what are the steps which are involved in it. So how you are going to see the various dimensions of these problems. So these are all which we are going to discuss about it. Types of projects, technical projects and financial projects, economic projects, and social aspects projects. So in this way, these are the four heads. So mainly, which we can see the projects. Technical projects are there, financial projects are there, economic projects, and the social aspects projects. So which are mainly how we are going to relate these things so in the process of agriculture development. And apart from that, the objectives of benefit cost assessment, approaches of project evaluation, and different types of costs and benefits involved in the project. So these are the aspects, other aspects which we are going to discuss today. Okay. So within this, the specific structure, what we are going to discuss is that most of the countries are not well equipped to undertake preparation and analysis of the projects. Okay, in majority of the so countries, so earlier they were not well equipped to undertake preparation and analysis of these projects. Preparations of good projects need good understanding of project concepts, time, and efforts. Okay, so in the process of these projects, so time is one of the most important factor. Okay, how you are going to utilize your time one once the project has started. Before project formulation also you have to think about how much time it requires, so each and every activity how you are going to complete within the stipulate within the time frame. So those are all you have to think about it, and you have to so frame such type of plan So how you are going to complete so those aspects within the all the times, all the elemental times which you can so add together, and finally you can say, so I'll take to complete this project this much of time. Okay, it may be number of days, it may be number of months, it may be so a number of years. Okay, like this. So there are very small projects to big projects, so it is there. Okay, preparation of good projects and good understanding of projects concepts, time and efforts, so which is more important. The developing countries generally face problem of project implementation due to poor project preparation. So our countries, so which we are facing, so the preparation is poor. That is why so the implementation of the projects are also poor. Okay, how we have to strengthen these things, that is what so today we have to discuss about it. Meaning and significance of the project. The project is defined and important features of project so are explained. The interrelationship between plan and project to achieve the set targets of any development activity is discussed. Okay, you know that. So plan means I have already, so you remember that the plan is systematic thinking of future event is called plan. Systematic thinking of any future event. So future event related to your own activities. Your own activities means, so suppose so you want to complete so this degree, this course, so how much time it requires, how you are preparing to so complete this project, this certificate course or the diploma or the degree or whatever it may be. So every activity, so morning, so if you, whenever you woke up, so till so night, when you are going to your bed, how you are going to plan your activities, that is also a project. Okay, so from that time to, so you want to resolve a different type of projects. So if you are trying to get some type of good results, good returns, so if you are expecting to your work, so that is whatever the work which you are involved, so how much efforts which you are putting up, how systematically you are so participating, how you are planning to resolve those issues. These are all the aspects, so which we may call it to achieve any type of activity, to resolve any type of problem is called a project. Am I clear to you? So in that way, the project can be defined. The interrelationship between plan and project to achieve the set targets of any development activity is discussed. The significance of project to the country as a whole and to the planners and educationists are also we can discuss about it. Mm, okay. Then secondly, the project classification based on its specific objectives. This is the most important. Okay, the what are the objectives which you are framing to achieve any type of project, how that so problem is going to be classified. That classification will be basically depending upon your specific objectives. Broad objective is one. So if suppose if you want to achieve good results, that is your broad objective. Okay, in any so aspect. So how that broad objective can be specifically, you can separate into so the different type of elements of activities. So the each and every activity, and within the activity there are elements of work. How that element of work which you are going to complete in that activity, how that all the activities can be completed within that objective. So in that way, so the specific objectives can be formulated and it can be completed, so in the project analysis. Is that clear? Okay, so in this way, overall, if you can say that the project class, under the project classification, as I have already mentioned, technical type of projects, institutional projects, organizational projects, managerial projects, social projects, commercial projects, financial projects, and economic aspects projects for good project preparations are discussed. So the projects are this many number of types. Okay. So any type of dimension, whatever the skill which you have, so accordingly you can design your project and you can try to implement that project. You can resolve that type of project. So in the so above mentioned so types of projects point of view, a project passes through different phases in its life cycle. The so in that project has a lot of different phases. That's what we are going to discuss about it. Then the basic concepts which are important for cost benefit assessment of a project. Third dimension which we are going to discuss about is the, after classification of the projects on the based on the specific objectives, we have to see that what are the concepts which are so important for cost and benefit assessment of a project. Okay, so every project, so we will start with to achieve some type of benefit or the other, and what type of costs which are incurred or involved in that process. So these type of costs and type of benefits which are existing in the project formulation, so those things can be assessed in each and every project. And related to each and every objective, so how these things are going to be analyzed, how what type of costs can be reduced, and to get more benefits, what type of costs can be reduced, what type of costs can be enhanced. So time and again these things can be evaluated or monitored, so from time to time. Okay, then approaches of project evaluation, with and without approach, and before and after approach. So these two things are also we are going to discuss. Then types of cost and benefit methods of valuation of these costs and benefits associated with agriculture projects, so are also dealt with. So these are the structure, so which we are going to discuss so today. Then concept and significance of a project. Meaning and concept of a project, definition of a project, features of a project, project concept, plan and project relationship, plans require projects, projects require plans, significance of project. So these are the things. So slowly, one by one, we will discuss about it. Meaning and concept of a project. The project generally involves spending of capital resources in order to create productive assets. As I have already told you, so if any project which we are dealing, or we want to deal, or we want to complete, so that can be, or while resolving that project, so we are going to create some type of productive assets, or we are going to get benefit out of it, we are going to get some type of income, like that. So some type of benefit or the other we are going to achieve, so while dealing or we are doing some type of project. These assets then give returns over a number of years. So if you have created one type of asset through one type of project, suppose, so project means so if you want to get a good employment opportunity, that is so one type of asset. So after some time, so you will start getting some type of returns, so in the form of salary, in the form of so different type of incomes. So like that, over a number of years, so the incomes may likely to get it. So to achieve that type of employment, what type of efforts which you are putting up, these are all a project. Is it okay? So that in that way you can define the project. Okay, So every day, how much time you are allocating to achieve that type of job. Okay. So how sincerely you are participating, how sincerely you are completing each and every element of task which is coming in front of the so job opportunity to get it. So in that way, these are all the things so which you have to so calculate in a systematic manner, and so plan those events so in a systematic manner. How so systematically you are going to uh, resolve such type of activities. So this is what you have to understand in this process. These are again the returns over a number of years, which is tied to the life of most constraining resource. Okay, as you all know that resources are scarce. Okay, resources are not that much easily available. They have a lot of constraints. So how much efforts which you are going to put it up to achieve that type of so good number of resources, that you also know. Especially so if you want to deal with any type of project, so funding is most important. Okay, so that is what I have told you. Suppose if you want to get a job, so you have to study. So if you want to study, you need the financial support. Your father and mother, they will support in a financial manner. Then you are going to study. Otherwise, so you are going to face lot of problems. Okay, so otherwise the government has to support some type of so scholarships, this and that. Then only so you may able to complete the degrees so which you are going to require to get a job. Okay, so in that way, so you have to understand the concept of a project. Definition of a project, there are different types of definitions. Project is an investment activity. So project is an investment activity. So if you are doing some project means you are trying to do some type of investment. So the with that some type of asset you are going to create. After some time, that asset will give some type of returns in the form of income, or in the form of so your satisfaction, in the form of your so biggest asset base, so etc etc. Okay, in that way, returns the activity investment activity meant for providing the returns for specific clientele group for a specific activity, specific objective and specific area development. So these are all so when you are trying to see the project, so what is the investment activity meant for providing the returns for specific clientele group for a specific activity, then specific objective and specific area development, which you have to decide. And so you have to define those things. Within that, how you are going to solve or so achieve the good project, that you have to see. It should facilitate analysis in planning. That's what I have already told you. The beginning, any type of project which you are going to start, it needs planning. Okay, the planning means systematic thinking of future events. So how systematically you are going to plan your activities, or thinking your activities to perform or to complete, to do. So those that is called a plan. Financing. After that, the most important aspect is financing, the funding source, the money. So from where it can come, how much it is there, how much it is available to you, so to complete that task. Implementation. Then whatever the resources which you have, whatever you have planned, how you are going to implement it. Planning, everybody can do that. Okay, so every day, so if you can think of at the evening, so you may think that yes, what type of activities today I have completed it. So you can look back. Then you can think of that, yes, by tomorrow onwards, definitely I will perform all these activities. So it is very easy to plan, but so it is very difficult to implement it, because so you have to stick to the type of activity which you are going to perform, then only you can able to implement perfectly whatever the activity which you are going to perform or you are going to do it. Okay, in that way, so you have to see the implementation process. Then, so monitoring. So after implementation, once the implementation process is going on, how you are doing it, that you are going to monitor it. Yes, whether I am doing right or wrong. So in that way, so you can monitor it. Then controlling. So if anything is going beyond your so hands or beyond your control, so you are not able to so stop that type of activities. You have to control those things. You have to control the feelings. You have to control your thoughts. You have to control to do that type of activities. Okay, any example which you can take up, suppose so that's what I have told you. You want to complete the course. Okay, so every day you have to spend some time. If you are not spending your time regularly, then you are not effectively implementing the plan which you have thought of. So that is not being perfectly monitored, and you are not perfectly controlling so your activities. That is what then finally, when once you are going to reach the end of it, if you evaluate, then that target, maybe if it is achieved, then your project is completed successfully. If you are not so achieved successfully, so your so results will be negative. So this is what the structure of any type of project: planning, financing, implementation, monitoring, controlling, and evaluation. So these are the steps which you have to remember, so time and again, so for each and every activity. Any activity which you can start, so for that, that is a project. You simply think that project means so it has not come, so it has not in a position to come somewhere. So it has to come your in your daily life, in your professional life, in your mechanical life, in your business life, in your family life. So in any way, so there are several types of projects which you have to come across. Am I clear to you? Okay, so in that way, so how you are going to specific clientele group which you are handling, and how the specific activity which you are trying to resolve, specific objective and the specific area development which you are performing, that is also the most important time. Secondly, then a project is a proposal for an investment to create. Okay, how you can do that? Okay, suppose so a project is a proposal. Proposal means so you want to do that activity. You are willing to do that type of activity. That is called your proposal. Okay, suppose so if you want to go somewhere, then you have to ask some money from your father or mother. So you are going to propose your mother or father, yes, so I want to go someplace, I need some money. That is called, that is one type of proposal which you are putting it up. In that way, in the project also, so a proposal can for an investment to create, so some type of a proposal can be created, then expanded. That proposal can be expanded and or develop certain facilities in order to increase the production of goods and services. Ultimately, project why you are going to do, so you have to invest, create, expand or develop certain facilities in order to increase the production of goods and services. This is your ultimate objective, to produce any type of goods or the services. So you have to follow these steps. and these things must be thoroughly you have to follow, that too within a certain period of time. Time is the so ultimate objective. Okay, within the stipulated time you want to do all these things. Okay, so that time, if the time bar is so not restricted, or if you within the stipulated time you are not able to complete the activities which you have thought of, or whatever the proposal which so you have framed, then no project will become a successful. In that way also a project can be defined. Project is a proposal for an investment to create, expand, or develop certain facilities in order to increase the production of goods and services in a community during a certain period of time. Thirdly, a project is an activity for which money will be spent in an expectation of returns. So, in a simple terms, this is what tangibly, so visibly, so we can see that why you are going to do the project. Basically, project is an activity for which money will be spent. That project can be completed if you have to, so some money has to be spent in an expectation of some returns. Okay, so if you put some type of so investment, so then some type of returns may be expecting. Okay, returns, and which logically seems to lend itself to planning, financing, implementation as a unit. So ultimately, among these functions, so you have to do all these things. That is called the project. It is the smallest operational element prepared and implemented as a separate entity in a national plan of programs of agricultural development. For example, because this is related to agriculture, that's why we have to discuss about in relation with the agricultural developmental process. Fourthly, a project is an instrument of change. It is a coordinated series of actions resulting from a policy decision to change resource combinations and levels so as to contribute to the realization of the country's development objectives. So, this is what so you have to see in a broader sense. So if a country want to develop, so or perform its own developmental objectives, so it has to see these things. Okay, how it is coordinating the series of actions resulting from a policy decision to change the resource combinations. Okay, resources are available to you. How that combinations which you are going to input into resolving the your project to achieve the good results throughout with that project. Okay, so that is also called a project. That project can act as an instrument of change. Okay, suppose so the instrument of change, you can see that okay, if you are taking up a project, suppose I want to get good job, so that is a project which you have framed. Okay, so if you have put up all your efforts, so in this in a systematic manner, once you have achieved that good job, then your life ambition is going to be achieved. That is your objective, that is your project which you have completed successfully. After that, so you can receive the continuous returns. Okay, so that is what, so you have to see that so what way you are looking about it yourself, so your so family friend, or your your village point of view, your so nearby villages, or your state, your nation, and your other nations, like that. So any type of so activity or any type of goal which you can frame that should be taken it as a project, and to achieve that type of thing, so you have to systematically perform all the type of activities, so as above mentioned. The first three definitions relate the investment activity to benefits arising out of them. The fourth definition looks at the project as a dynamic element. Okay, the first three are, if you could put some finance, then the returns you can expect. Fourth is the it's a instrument of change. Entire it can be changed your life, or it can, so the resource combination will change the entire objective of a country's development or a nation's development, or so your family's objectives, family's dimension, family's problems will also be resolved. So this is what we can say to define, or what are the meaning and the concept of a project which are associated with that. Then features of a project. What are the features which are existing in this project? The size of project should be as small as possible, and should also be economically, technically, and administratively feasible. Okay, so that is also you have to see, and you have to plan accordingly. The project means which you have to resolve, and which you are able to complete within the stipulated time. It must be feasible in your limits. Okay, your thoughts are very high, but the project may not be so in a position to complete within the stipulated time, or if you are not able to complete the project, then there is no use of it. Your entire efforts will be futile. Okay, there is no point in putting the efforts. So if they will not be completed within the stipulated time, there is no use about it. So in that way, so the features, the size of the project should be as small as possible. So you can frame n number of projects within the broad target, broad goal, broad mission. So you can frame n number of projects, but the project must be specific, and it has to be defined with some type of definitions, and it has some objective. So the specific objectives which you have to frame, and that specific objectives how it can be resolved. So you have to frame step by step all those steps, so which you can frame it, and successfully, if you can able to complete those activities in a systematic manner, then definitely your project will be completed in a limited time, or within a stipulated time. A number of projects could form a program. That's what I have told you. Okay, the entire program could be analyzed as single project. So there are several programs. So all the programs may be combined as a project. This would invite the risk that the high returns from one component would mask the low returns from the other component of the program. This is quite possible. Okay, so if one aspect, so if you are doing the same type of returns may not come with another type of element of activity which you are performing within the same project. There may be the returns may be in one activity, in one program, so the returns are very high. In another program, the returns may be lower. In that way, so the combination of the returns also you have to face, and you have to follow in a systematic manner. A project is an investment activity that can be evaluated separately. Project can be separated into parts. Each of these can be defined as projects. Such projects should not be considered separately if they are so closely related that one cannot be operated or fulfill its purpose without the other. Okay, like that. So you can also apply your own way. Okay, what I am trying to say is that, so if you want to complete a degree, So there are several type of activities which you are supposed to complete. So these are all interlinked, one after the another, one after the another. If one is successful in the beginning, then only you can so satisfactorily enter into the second type of activity, and so like that you can proceed. So until the your so goal is to be attained. Okay. The projects are considered and evaluated at all levels, from a junior engineer to the Planning Commission or the World Bank. They are also evaluated at all depths, ranging from mere inspection by experts to use of programming techniques and scientific guesswork or prediction. This is a simple example which we can see that projects are considered and evaluated at all levels. Evaluation is very very important at each and every stage of the activity, so which you are trying to perform in that so project or the program. Same evaluation technique should be used to achieve consistent decisions at all levels and time of evaluation. Before that, the projects are considered, and so that I have already told you, they are also evaluated at all depths, ranging from mere inspection by experts to use of programming techniques and scientific guesswork or prediction. So those things also you have to understand well. The junior engineer or settlement planner should be guided by the same so and methods as are used in the final appraisal. Ultimately, so in the final appraisal you have to systematically so see that how you have planned and to what extent you have achieved good results while performing those tasks within the stipulated time period to complete your program. All the projects, whether are public or private sector, need to be analyzed. The feasibility analysis of private sector projects would help government to approve such projects as well as to grant financial assistance. So this is the funding source from where it can come. Okay. So the once you can do that type of projects in a feasibility analysis, then the projects would help government so to improve such projects, and finally then the government will grant some type of so financial assistance. Okay. Then the biological nature of agriculture projects differentiates the agriculture projects from projects of other economic sectors. So this is what so biological nature of agriculture projects, so which differentiates the agriculture projects from projects of other economic sectors. So that is what so we can separate it out from so other in the other industries or other sectors to the agriculture sector. This feature of agricultural projects makes it harder to predict input output relationship. So this is the most important thing. So what type of inputs which you are having and what output which you are expecting from that type of inputs. So that relationship is very much important, and so you have to predict before that. These are the some of the features of the project. Then the concept, the project concept. Project concept is considered as a part of the project cycle. Okay, project cycle means, as you know, that so cyclical process. So that means so if you can complete that project, the similar type of activities, time and again you can repeat those similar type of activities. So that is called the cycle. Project ideas are first developed. Without idea, there is no project. Okay. There is no problem. Without having any problem, there are no ideas to resolve it. So, in that way, first of all, there are some ideas. So, that ideas, how you are going to formulate it, that is most important. The development of project concept is prerequisite to the decision to proceed with the next step of identification. Okay. Once you thought about the idea of the project. Then, so you have to identify what type of activity I am going to resolve first, or so simultaneously how many types of activities which I can able to handle as a project form, like that. So you have to frame your mind, and you have to arrange such type of resources, you have to discuss about all these things accordingly, so you can sell your products, and then based on that some type of returns may be expected, and so out of that returns, so you may get some type of income or the other. Then in that way it's a cyclical process. So when you are rotating the investment process, so then they will try to purchase some other activities, some other consumption goods. So then the money again goes to the business people or the merchants, so then they can so try to put it the type of products or the goods or the services in the market. So in that way, so the cyclical process is keep on continuing. So to define the project concept, a thorough understanding of the country's agriculture development objectives, its resource base, source and resource. Yesterday we have discussed about it, because source means is already one type of physical asset. For that, so which you can so add some type of so efforts, or some type of so financial, or some type of so human labor, or so in that way, so it will become a resource. Then how that resource so is going to be useful, so that is what which you can see. Understanding of the country's agriculture development objectives, its resource base, add an assessment of the options facing the countries should be known. The types of questions that may emerge in the process are: should the country invest heavily in irrigated agriculture, or should it develop first its potential for rain-fed agriculture? So in that way, you can decide, so in which way, so which what is the idea, so which you are going to take up. So in these two situations, irrigated and the rain fed. Okay, so like that, because which is more so productively very much useful and very much standard, so those things only which you can take into consideration. Obviously, so you can take up irrigation is the first priority. After that only you can go to the rain fed areas or the dry areas. So then, in order to find answers to the questions, sectoral surveys covering both irrigated and rain-fed agriculture could be attempted. Sector survey would help in identification of constraints and potentials for development. The prioritization needs to be done not only in a particular subsector, for example, agriculture, but can also be between subsectors, agriculture, livestock, and forestry. So these are the things so which you have to think about it. The prioritization could be done between livestock and crop production, livestock and fisheries, forestry, etc. Okay, in this way, so this the combination of inputs, so which we are going to apply. The prioritization could be done between livestock and crop production, livestock and fisheries, or forestry, etc. Because livestock crop production, this is one type of combination of available natural resources, and livestock and fisheries, that is another combination of so natural resources. Then so forestry itself is one of the biggest natural resource base. So among all these things, so which is becoming more priority oriented, that it depends on each and every person to person. Okay, how you can look at so that type of so resources which are available, or the nomenclature which you are trying to follow about it. Then Priority needs to be accorded to the institutional and support services such as agricultural credit, research, extension, marketing, and storage. So these are the five inputs. So which must gain momentum in the agricultural research. So in this, agriculture credit is one of the most important aspect because there are formal and non-formal, so informal credits. So there are two types of credits which are existing in it, because farmer credit means basically they can come from the banks. Then research, extension, marketing, and the storage facilities. These facilities, what are they? So those things, we have to bifurcate and go one by one. Plan and project relationship. This is the most important aspect. Plan and project relationship. How you are planning and how those things are project relationship, so which it can be enhanced. Suppose a plan is there. That means if you have thought of one type of systematic activities, so with that, how the project is, that is one type of project. So you have to go to the so company or the agency. So you have to apply your details and submit your dissertation, and then you will get something out of it. Then plan require projects. Okay, that's what we have to see. Plans are always there, but that can be bifurcated into different type of projects. Then only that plan will become successful. Okay, suppose for example, if you can see, in the budget presentation we can check with that. So the labor force is very keen to so do some type of activities to the people, those who are involved in it. Okay, development of a sound plan for an area or country requires a great deal of knowledge about existing and potential projects. This is what that means, a development of a sound plan for an area or country requires a great deal of knowledge about existing potential project. This is obvious enough for a short term operational plan. That is as you know very well, that in India, so when after completion of the before starting the 12th plan itself, the planning process has gone out. Okay, so everywhere, every person, they have to maintain their time levels, so from time and again. Okay, short term plans, so that is 1 to 5 years, and there are medium term, there are long term perspective plans. Like that, there are 2 3 types. So how best you are in a position to discuss about these things. The 15 years plan will be, so we can call it which must contain firm and realizable plans and for 15 to 20 years, which is a medium term sketch of economic development, quantitative terms. The perspective plan, this is the biggest plan. Okay, so short term, medium term, and the perspective plan. This is around 15 years plan. This lay down target rates of growth for gross national product, consumption also for investment, and its financing by both the domestic and foreign savings. Okay, so that is what you can see. These plans should be based on realistic assumptions about the amount of investment and output which will flow when capacity operation is achieved. That is what the capital output ratio. If you are putting this much of capital on that asset, what is the output which you are going to derive it. Okay, the extent of realism of such plans depend upon the knowledge of the rate at which good projects can be planned, designed, built, and brought to capacity operation. Okay, so in that way, plan require projects, how the plans are requiring different type of projects. So that's what, so we can see. Then second aspect, projects require plans. Projects require plan. The economic appraisal is undertaken to find out the feasible projects for implementation. The knowledge of plan helps the analysis in economic approach of projects. This is another dimension which we can see that. So earlier we have seen plan for projects. Now the projects require plan. The assessment of benefits requires estimation of effective demand of the project's product. Demand depends on how the economy would develop in nature. This in turn depends on the long term plan and policies of the government. The total demand of a product can be met either by domestic production or through the imports. So that is what, so nowadays, so the majority of the politicians, so majority of the people, they are trying to bring that type of amount of money from some other way. Here again, the government policies with respect to tariffs, exchange rates, and impact cement, impact controls. Okay, term plan policies. Economy would develop. Tariffs, exchange government. The assessment of benefits require estimation of effective demand of the project's product. That is the most important aspect. So if you are doing some projects, so they are producing something that product must have some type of good demand, then only you can do more number of projects, more number of products which you can produce, and more number of more demand it may enhance. The demand depends on how the economy would develop in future. Ultimately, if your economy is doing good, then the demand will also so goes on. Depends on the long term plan and policies of the government. The total demand of a product can be met either by domestic production or through the imports. So these are the things which you can so perform the projects. Here again, the government policies with respect to tariffs, exchange rates, and import controls would decide the role of each of these sources of supply in meeting the total demand. Finally, the real cost of a project requires knowledge of the strength and scarcities which are operating and will operate in the economy as a whole. In that way, so it is most usual to take actual prices of scarce resources reigning at the time as adequate measures of real scarcities. But scarcities change as development proceeds. Okay, this, as you all know very well, because scarcity is the fundamental problem of creation of high demand to any type of product. Significance of a project. The project has a significance, a developmental tool. This is a project is a uh, in a manner of developmental tool, seeking external aid, efficient implementation of unit for investment, subject matter for the educational institutions. So in that way, so there are different type of significances for each project. So which we can do. Project is a developmental tool. Project is an external aid tool. Project is an efficient implementation unit for investment, And so project is a subject matter for the educational institutions. In that way, whatever the way which you are going to see, so that will depend upon it. Then projects are the cutting edge of development. So ultimately, so if you want to achieve the development, the project is a cutting edge in the sense that what are the problems faced by the administrators is the implementation of development programs. Poor project preparation is the prime cause for inefficient implementation of the programs. Most of the countries have poor capacity to prepare and analyze projects. The administrators often underestimate the time and effort needed to prepare suitable projects. These are all we have discussed already. They focus more on policy formulation and planning of a much broader scope, overlooking the fact that development cannot proceed unless specific projects are there on which to spend money. Okay, so in that way, so how you are going to see that if you want to achieve any type of development, so the project is an essential factor. The project, so how it is, so act in the process of development, that depends upon you. Projects are a project role in overall development. Projects are essential for development of an economy. Okay, so in any type of economy, if it wants to develop, so there are some projects. The projects are very, very important. So whether in the form of so government or any type of agencies, so which are there to perform the activities, then through that activities some type of problem or the other has to be dealt thoroughly, and that thorough results of that activity will give good results. So then the overall development can be achieved. So in that way, so how the project role in overall development also can be seen. Therefore, projects selected for implementation should be of high priority in the national developmental program. So that is why from micro to macro level and macro to micro level. So this type of the each and everywhere some type of project or the other can start to work or can be a part of it, then only the overall developmental process may likely to emerge and may likely to be achieved. Thorough consideration should be given to all alternatives in the economy as a whole, as also within the subsector like agriculture. Okay, whether you may consider for the agriculture or you may consider the whole economy as a whole. Most often, the countries undertake more formal sector studies on agriculture plans to set forth priorities and objectives. Okay, because we are discussing about the agriculture, that's why. So the agriculture priorities can be set forth and the objectives can be prepared. The project investment decision. This is the most important point. How does so a project investment decision so will come up? So from where it can come? Who will invest in that project? And how the type of returns can be so framed, and ultimately how a customer or the stakeholders can be satisfied, so while performing or while implementing the type of projects for the overall agriculture development sake or any type of development. Suppose here we are talking about the agriculture development. So in the agriculture developmental process, so there are several types of inputs which we have to successfully be in implementing. Okay, the there are number of feasible projects which can be implemented. However, due to resource constraint, they need to be prioritized because of resources are very scarce, and so due to that reason, so the priority has to be given first. So the top to bottom or bottom to top, so approach, so which you can frame up. Then, so based on that, for each and every aspect, so how you are so trying to follow it up from priority point of view. The analytical methods help in prioritizing projects. However, the project investment decision is not based solely on this. Certain other factors are considered in taking project investment decisions. For example, there are two projects, one a settlement project and the other a plantation project, giving similar project benefits. The settlement project is chosen for implementation as it would lead to improved income distribution. National investment decision should be a political decision summing up the best judgment of all those responsible for taking sound decisions. In that way, the project analysis should not be considered as a tool to replace this judgment. Rather, it is an additional tool which should be used to sharpen the judgment propose process so that the likelihood of error is minimized. That is most important aspect which you have to remember, because while implementing the project there may be several types of errors may likely to emerge, but the component of error, the percentage of error must be very very small and very very limited. Then only you may achieve good results out of that project. Otherwise, so if the error and the so failures are more in implementation of that project, then you may not get good results so out of it. So that is what you have to remember. And so when performing any project, so you have to think about how so you will not fall into such type of trap of errors. Try to minimize so as much as possible. As you know that, so the social science projects, so whatever you will do, the minimum 10% of error is always taken it as granted. But whereas in the case of science, so 100%, so there must be a so perfect. So in that way, so science projects and the social science projects has the minimal difference in the beginning of the project itself. Because so in the social science the 10% is so error is taken it as granted. Okay, because so these are all, it depends upon the type of attitude, the type of so feelings and thoughts and your concerns and your commitments and your attitudes, how they can play so while implementing or while performing some type of project or the other. Okay, in that way the project analysis should not be considered as a tool to replace this judgment. Rather, it is an additional tool which should be used to sharpen the judgment process so that the likelihood of error is minimized. So this is what the project investment decision. Then funding for program service project. This is the most important. So without funding, there is no project. Whatever it may be, whatever the type of activity which you are going to deal, that is called a project. So that project, so if you want to discuss, if you want to deal it, if you want to deal it, so in a more economical manner or in a more time bound manner or more financial manner like that, so all these dimensions which you have to keep it in your mind, and you have to try to so allot such type of so there is a room for that type of things. The external aid to agriculture sector is usually project based. Okay, so suppose for example in the case of financing point of view, external aid so to agriculture sector is usually project based. Okay, there are a number of advantages to this approach. What are the advantages? Firstly, there is discipline involved at various steps of the project cycle. Okay, what are the discipline process involved? So you have to see the project based lending makes monitoring and control easier by way of supervision. As you all know very well, because so once a bank or financial institution which is trying to fund to any type of project, they can see that so how monitoring and the control can be done in an easy manner. So after that, so before also it can be done, and after also it can be done. Projects assist and influence the country's investment strategy. They aid in directing resources towards the specific target groups and specific regional income group. So how you are so in a position to direct your resources. So the specific target groups must be fixed, and so based on that, that can be grouped into specific regional income groups also. The disadvantage of such an approach is that it takes a lot of precious time in preparation and implementation of the project. So if you want to systematically plan such type of project or fund any type of project, you have to follow this type of necessary conditionalities. Most often the disbursement of the funds is behind the target, and so the rate of absorption of a country for external financing resources for projects is much lower than would be the case with say the program lending. Okay. Obviously, the foreign funding is very less so for your country's own projects. So in that way you have to see how best you are going to utilize that type of resources. The project has a number of components that are mutually supportive. Therefore, a multidisciplinary approach helps in preparation of a sound project. So nowadays, this multidisciplinary projects, that means any type of problem can be resolved in a combination of different subjects. Suppose earlier we used to frame a project for economics point of view, that not only that economics point of view which we can handle, and apart from that the psychological, the sociological, the political, the dimensions also can be added to this. Then the project will become more successful, the results will become more acceptable, and all the in front of your target, whatever the target may be, that can be easily accessed or easily approached and easily accepted by the funding agencies. So that is what it is happening recently. So because the multidisciplinary subjects will also try to contribute towards the project. Then we can see that the agriculture development projects have a diverse component such as social services, irrigation, roads, beneficiary participation, etc. Okay. Agriculture development projects have a diverse components: social services, irrigation, roads, beneficiary participation, etc. This is what I am trying to say. Seeking the beneficiary participation is all the more skilled and time-taking process. Therefore, such projects require more time and specialized staff for better conceptualization of the project. Okay. So in that way, the subject of agricultural project analysis. So ultimately, we have to see that any type of project which we are doing in the process of agricultural development, that is why the subject of agriculture project analysis, how it will be, that also we can see. The subject of agriculture project analysis has not received the required attention among the students because of the unawareness of the opportunities that exist for teaching institutions to contribute to their country's project approach to development. So, this is the most important point which you have to remember. The knowledge of the importance and role of projects is limited to a small circle of government officials in key ministries who negotiable loans with the outside donors, and those directly involved in project implementation. Although there is depth of course material in this field of project analysis as the recognized in the existing literature, which can concentrate primarily on the economic analysis of projects, which is only one of the many aspects of project formulation. Okay, that is what so we have to understand. The expanding role of the project approach to agriculture development in the developing countries has led to greater demand of qualified manpower for preparation and implementation of these projects. So, how you are in a position to frame, how you are going to plan your activities under that project, that needs also very much highly skilled. Then only the qualified manpower can be deployed, and they can only so brought the greater demand so to that process. A large bulk of this growing demand is filled by the technical assistance from developed world. So these are all so keep on taking. In some of the poorest African countries, technical assistance component for project implementation may reach as high as 25% of total project cost. That is also a greatest danger. Okay, in so majority of the poor countries, so the technical assistance so is going around 25% of the project cost. That means so it is a huge amount, so that has to be reduced. While so domestic skills and domestic expertise it can be improved, then automatically that cost can be reduced. Then project preparation aspects and project cycle. The project cycle, so which we have discussed earlier, that here the types of projects, aspects in project preparation, those two are very very important. Then in the project cycle, also one of the most important component of it. The project could be classified into a number of groups based on the objectives set for the projects. Types of projects. A technological innovation. Within the technological innovation, what are the types of projects? Modernization of agriculture, for example, to increase the productivity levels. Okay, so how that technological innovations can be systematically so planned or so frame a such type of a project. For example, in the modernization of agriculture for increasing productivity, so what type of technical input so which you require, so accordingly that proposal so can be prepared, then it can be implemented. Broadening the resource base, this is the most important so factor. How to broaden the resource base? So everybody wants to do some type of project or the other, but the constraint is that so how to broaden the resource base, that is the most important. The resource means the day we have discussed about it being so additional bring additional physical resources into so the production like water, land, broadening the resource base. Then improvement in the status of disadvantaged groups, that also we can see so how the disadvantaged groups improvement may likely to take place. Growth has not accompanied by development, this is the biggest debatable issue. Whatever the growth which is taking place, that is not percolating its benefits to the all the groups of community, all the groups of people, those who are living in, or all the people those who are looking the expectations from that type of project. Agriculture credit projects, as we all know very well, so how the agriculture credit projects are working, land settlement projects, rural development projects, like that. So you can so try to analyze and observe so several type of projects which are going to be agricultural developmental projects. Improvement in post harvest handling and distribution, that is marketing and storage. marketable. So the post harvest technology point of view, so marketing and storage, so both are very very important. Institution building, local institutions, management, farm level organizations, etc. So these are the steps which we have to think about it. These are the five steps. So in the project preparation aspects, so of the and the life cycle, project cycle. Aspects in project preparation. What are the aspects which are involved in the project preparation? The major dimensions of a project are, so other before that we have already discussed: technical, institutional, organizational, managerial, social, commercial, financial, and economic aspects. These are the major aspects. So under these heads, so how you can prepare a project, because any of a single head is also sufficient to project a prepare a project. All these aspects also be there, and some of the aspects may be there in each and every project. It does not mean that in all the projects all the aspects may likely to come. Okay, so sometimes, so this is all the aspects may likely to come. It depends on the specific objective of the project. That is what which you have to remember about it. Okay, what is your objective to achieve? So based on that, these steps will follow. These steps will be so in a position to give some type of input or the other to achieve good results. Technical. So we have to see that to what extent it is feasible. We can say initially we may thought of, but practically, so to what extent that is feasible, that can be seen. And projects inputs and outputs. What are the project inputs and what are the project outputs? Supply point of view and the demand point of view also. We can see that in the case of technical, so projects point of view, when you are preparing the technical projects, so to what extent these things are very, very useful. And in the secondly, institutional background, identify the components of institutional framework, government, project authority, corporate entities, land tenure system, farmer organizations and cooperatives. These two are the so projects. So for the sake of agriculture development, so these will be there. So then institutional project, when you are preparing, that needs mainly background, identification of the components of institutional framework, then government, then project authority, then corporate entities. So these are the major bodies. So any type of project, so it can be related to any of these type of governmental agencies, whether it may be a central government, or it may be a state government, or it may be a district level government authority. So the project may be depending upon those factors. Then managerial, organizational and managerial, you can see overall design and structure of the so board of entity that would undertake the task of project execution, selecting an organization. It may be an internal organization or it may be an international organization. Then the beneficiary participation, that is also most important. To what extent the beneficiaries are participating, so in the type of so whatever you are going to implement in a project, or it may be a funding organization. Managerial, management is to implement the project objectives within the framework of the organizational structure which provided for the project. Definition of the objectives, allocation of responsibility, coordination activities, staffing the project. These are all so we have to see. So while doing this type of projects, then social related projects. The social patterns, custom, culture, traditions, habits of the clientele a project will serve are assessed. Then environmental considerations also to be taken, multiplier effect and social effects of project. So these things, all the thing, all such type of things you can consider and then prepare such type of social project. Then commercial project, arrangement for marketing the output produced by the project. Arrangement for marketing the output produced by the project. Supply of inputs needed to build and operate the project. Assess the effective demand of people's output as a remuneration prices. So these are all very, very important for framing the commercial project. Then financial projects. It measures the, in this you have to measure the financial viability of the project, necessary complement to the economic analysis in decisions to undertake the project. Then the main objectives of financial analysis at the farmers or entrepreneur level are assessing incentive aspects of the project and setting farm income target, assessing viability at various targets of the project, assessing borrowers' repayment capacity and determining the lending conditions, determining the contribution of beneficiaries to project costs. Secondly, to assess the impact of the project on budgets of tax, export tax, and agricultural projects. So, in that way, also, there are several types of financial aspects, financial projects can be formulated on the agriculture side. Then, economic aspects. Finally, so we have to remember that so apart from the other components which we have discussed in the above, the economic aspects also to be seen. Quantitative estimate of the project's impact on national economy. In economic analysis, taxes and subsidies are treated as transfer payments. In financial analysis, market prices are generally used. The interest on capital is never separated and deducted from the gross return. All the above aspects must be considered every stage in the project planning and implementation style. All the whatever the heads, the more than 8 heads which we have discussed. So all these heads, so we have to discuss every day, and so implement it along with the implementation cycle. Then the project cycle. Earlier also we have discussed a project passes through a number of phases, and each phase not only grows out of the preceding one but also leads to subsequent one. So that is what project means. The various phases of project cycle are identification, then preparation and analysis, appraisal, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. So these are the 5 steps, so which are very, very important. So for any type of project. Out of that, the first one is identification. So how this identification is taking place? Find the potential projects, sources from which projects could be identified, or the well-informed technical specialists and local leaders are common source of information. Agriculture sources, agriculture and allied programs proposed in the states and center. Areas identified as componential of potential of further development through government surveys. So, for example, special development programs, IRDP, Integrated Rural Development Program. Nowadays, there are several types of programs. They are also been introducing new projects emerging out of existing projects also. The major steps in the identification process are evaluation of the present situation, identifying the relevant policy issues, establishing the project's rationale, developing the project's design and concept, setting the project's scale, preparing preliminary estimates of cost and benefits, proposing the organization and management structure, spelling out the further work requirements. These are all very, very important. So, for the identification of the project and identification of the various issues in the project, these are the very, very important issues which we have to remember and follow it up. Then, preparation and analysis, how to prepare a project and how to do the analysis. After identification, feasibility study we have to conduct. That means financially, okay? Whether financially are we able to meet, are we able to complete the work of this project within the stipulated budget, so which has been entrusted or which has been sponsored by the funding agency. That is called the feasibility study. Then financial, carefully done soil surveys, hydrological surveys, cropping pattern, etc. So these things, so how you can frame it, and so it can taken place. It can be taken place. Labor requirements, farm budget preparation, etc. Then appraisal. How do you do the appraisal? Appraisal means, so while doing the project, it's a midterm appraisal or quarterly appraisal or monthly appraisal, like that. It depends upon your objectives and so your budget, your level of achievement, the monitoring, and the all these steps, so which when you are trying to consider, then you can see the appraisal. Then at that time you can rectify it, whether the cost is growing up or whether the cost is very much less spent, or the benefits are so in a position to come or benefits are not in a position to come. So that appraisal will give that type of good results. So based on that also you can try to modify, so whenever the appraisal is taking place as expected in the beginning. So if you are getting your appraisal in a proper manner, then there will be no problem. If it is not like that, then you have to purchase from him or her or the organization. Implementation. So the investment period, development period, and the project life. These three are very, very important. So when you are participating in the implementation of project. Monitoring is depending upon the timely collection and analysis of data on the progress of the project. So there are several other aspects, but this is one of the major aspects which we have to consider. Finally, the evaluation, the last phase of the project cycle. This can be done in mid-course evaluation, concurrent evaluation, ex-post evaluation, like that in three dimensions. Any type of evaluation which you can able to conduct. So while doing the project, while performing the project. Okay. So these are the so project cycle. So how cycle means, so for every project, so these type of things, so keep on continuously doing it, and so finally where you are, how you are in a position to achieve good results, that can be explained by the project cycle. Then project's costs and benefits. Okay. So these are the most important aspects. The third aspect which we have to see is that what are the project's costs and what are the benefits. Okay. If it is obvious phenomena, if the costs are less, then the benefits are more. Okay. Conceptual issues in cost and benefits assessment, relevance of objectives in cost and benefit assessment, evaluation approaches, direct transfer payments. So these three things are to be discussed. Then tangible and intangible costs and benefits we have to discuss. Then direct and indirect costs and benefits we have to discuss. These are the aspects which we are going to discuss in the project's costs and benefits point of view. Conceptual issues in costs and benefits assessment. Relevance of objectives in cost and benefit assessment. That is, first of all, we have to see that whether the type of costs or the benefit assessment is relevance of the objectives. That is what we have to check. Then the project objectives determine the costs and benefits associated with it. Then anything that increases the objective of the project is a benefit, and another one is reducing it is a cost. So vice versa also we can think of it. Then evaluation approaches. Two approaches are widely used in evaluation of projects: with and without approach and before and after approach. So these two things are very important. Okay. So when you are preparing the project, so what type of approach you are going to adopt for that? Some projects may be adopted with and without, some projects may be adopted before and after approach, so like that. So these two approaches are very much popular. The project analysis identifies and evaluates the costs and benefits associated with the proposed project and compare them with the situation as would be without the project. So that is what with and without project. So how it can be identified and defined. The difference between the two is the incremental net benefit from the project investment. Then the second approach, the before and after approach, is explaining before and after study measures outcomes in a group of participants before introducing a product or other intervention, and then again afterwards any changes in the outcomes are attributed to the product or intervention. So this is what the most important thing. So the before and after approach. So how it is going to measure and how you are going to analyze the results. So which are following this method. Then direct transfer payments. The direct transfer payments are those items representing shifting goods and services from one entity of the society to another without affecting the national income. So this is what the direct transfer payments, so which is happening nowadays. So the direct transfer payments percentage is keep on growing over a period of time. Okay. So the on the one hand it is a vote bank, on the other hand, so the people, those who are likely to receive the entire amount of money, with this the intermediaries and the corruption practices, they all can be avoided, so while giving the direct benefit, direct amount transfer into their accounts. So these are usually easier to identify. In agriculture project analysis, four kinds of direct transfer payments are common: taxes, subsidies, loans, and debt service. The payments are treated differently in financial and economic analysis. In financial analysis, a tax payment is a cost. Upon payment of a tax by the farmer, his net benefit is reduced. but the farmer's payment of tax does not reduce the national income. So that is what so we have to understand. Only transfer of income takes place from farmer to the government that can be used for social purposes. So if that happens, then it will be the society will get benefit out of it. Subsidies are simply direct transfer payments that flow in the opposite direction from taxes. If a farmer is able to purchase fertilizer at a subsidized price, that will reduce his cost and thereby increase his net benefit. But the cost of the fertilizer in the use of society, so real resources remain the same. This is what you have to remember. The resources needed to produce the fertilizer reduce the national income available to the society. Hence, for economic analysis of a project, we must enter the full cost of the fertilizer. Subsidies could be of many forms. One form is that lowers the selling price of inputs below what otherwise would be their marketplace. Subsidy can increase the amount the farmer receives for what he see in the market and that paid by the government. Mhm. Then the government procuring food grains at minimum support price. That is also one type of aspect, so which we can see. The same result could also be achieved without involvement of direct subsidy. This, in some situations, this type of thing will also happen. Yes, there are some other activities which are related to this. Is credit transactions are the other major form of direct transfer payment in agricultural projects. Credit transactions, okay? Suppose a Kisan credit card or any other credit card. So the direct transfer payments in agriculture projects also possible. From the standpoint of the farmer, receipt of a loan increases the production resources available. Payment of interest and repayment of principal reduce them. But the standpoint of the economy, things look different. Does the loan reduce the national income availability? No. It merely transfers the control over resource from the lender to the borrower. Perhaps one farmer makes the loan to his neighbor. The lending farmer cannot use the money he lends to buy fertilizer, but the borrowing farmer can. In that way also money, so how he is lending to buy the fertilizer and how a farmer is borrowing, so these things can also be useful for the from the direct transfer payments point of view. The use of the fertilizer, of course, is a cost to the society because it uses up resources and thus reduce the national income. But the loan transaction does not itself reduce the national income. It is rather a direct transfer payment. In reverse, the same thing happens when the farmer repay his loan. The farmer who borrowed cannot be fertilizer with the money he uses to repay the loan his neighbor made, but his neighbor can. Thus, the repayment is also a direct transfer payment. In this way, there are several ways of direct transfer payments, so which are going to take place. So in the different type of projects, so which we can try to understand. Okay, these are the three types, so which we can discuss: direct transfer payments, subsidies, taxes. Okay, how they are playing such an important role that we have seen. Okay, Then here you have to see tangible versus intangible costs and benefits. Whatever the projects which you are keep on doing it, in this project, in each and every project, there are some tangible costs, tangible benefits. In that way, there are intangible costs and intangible benefits. Tangible means it is visible, intangible means so within that, so it is understood, it is implied. The tangible benefits or costs of a project, whether direct or indirect, are those which can be valued in monetary terms. Ultimately, so if we can see those things, so in a monetary terms, then we can easily come up with some type of conclusion whether the tangible costs are more or tangible benefits are more, intangible costs are more or intangible benefits are more. In that way, so we can decide the project is giving good results or not. While the increase in agricultural output on irrigated land is the tangible benefits of an irrigation project. The labor costs of pipes are the tangible costs. The tangible benefits and costs are which cannot be easily measured in monetary term. The beautification of an area resulting from an irrigation project is an example of intangible benefits because so the benefits may not be seen. Okay, the irrigation project is very much greenery. So with that, so it is everybody can attract, everybody can so see, they want to see that project how it is. So for that purpose, so direct returns may not be there, but some type of intangible benefits which are so involved in that process, whereas the destruction of wildlife is an indirect cost. Okay, so in that way, the tangible and intangible costs and benefits. Tangible costs of agriculture project are physical goods, labor, land, contingency allowance taxes, debt services, sunk costs. So these are the different type of costs which are involved in it. Physical goods, concrete for canal project, fertilizer, pesticides, material for home construction, etc. These are the physical goods. Labor, highly skilled project manager to farmer maintaining his farm. Then land is a physical asset which is so visible, and so you have to put some type of cost. Physical goods acquiring also you have to put some cost. Labor, if you want to hire, there is some cost which is tangible. Land also, if you want to operate, there is some tangible cost which you have to put it. Then contingency allowance taxes also need the tangible cost. Advance for possible adverse changes in physical conditions. During that time, the contingency allowance taxes are important. Then taxes, for example, duties, tariffs. So these two things also you have to consider as a tangible cost. But as a transfer payment in economic analysis, point of view, so we can say that whether is there any transfer payment which is taken place, that is also one of the tangible cost in this project. Then debt services, for example, payment of interest, repayment of capital, so these are also tangible costs. Then sunk costs, those costs incurred in the past upon which a proposed new investment will be based on. So past activities, so those costs incurred in the past upon which a proposed new investment will be based. So those are the things which you have to see. And then tangible benefits of agriculture projects. What are the tangible benefits? So, tangible costs we have seen. Tangible benefits from agriculture projects arise either in the form of an increased value of production or through reduced costs. In simple terms, this is what increased value of production or through reduced costs. Through that, the tangible benefits may increase. So then what are the other tangible benefits in agriculture projects? Increase in production. If the production can increase, then the tangible benefits may be visible. Quality improvement, change in time of sale, change in location of sale. For example, quality improvement, as you know that if the quality has been improved, then the tangible benefit will also be increased, because so it can be sold, the agriculture good or the service, so can be purchased, say, sold in a good rate or highest rate. Change in time of sale. Okay, so immediately if you are selling your product, so then you have to lose some amount of money. Otherwise, if you have kept some time, so that if you have changed the time of sale, then you are in a position to get some type of benefit or the other. Change in location of sale, so nearby place and the, so sometimes, so there are two types. So sometimes so it gives good results, sometimes it may give bad results also. Okay, it depends upon the market, and it depends upon the people, those who reach to the market, or the where you are going to sell your product, that depends upon it. So that is also a decision factor, so of the tangible benefits. Changes in product form. While grading and processing, the product form is changing, so through that also you can get the benefits which are visible. Cost reduction through mechanization. Through mechanization process, your cost, the cost of cultivation may reduce, then that is also a surplus to the agriculture producer. That is what, one of the tangible benefit. Then reduced transport costs, then losses avoided, then other kinds of tangible benefits like saving in time, reduction in accidents, etc. These are all the tangible benefits, so in the agriculture projects, so which we can try to understand while doing the agriculture projects. So the different stages which we have discussed, then finally we can see the intangible costs and benefits of agriculture project. After that, only direct and indirect taxes also we can see. Then intangible costs and benefits of agriculture project. Intangible costs and benefits are associated with almost every agriculture project. The example of such costs and benefits are creation of new job opportunities, better health and reduced infant mortality as a respect of more rural clinics, better nutrition, reduced incidence of waterborne disease as a result of improved rural water supplies, national integration, or even national defense. Valuation of such costs and benefits is difficult. The intangible benefits could be considered in project selection process, wherein these are carefully identified and quantified, even though valuation is impossible. In this way, the intangible costs are associated with that. If you keep on doing these type of activities, job opportunities, new job opportunities, if you are increasing, then the cost is going up in that way. So some areas, so if you want to extend the good health facilities, then that also incurred some type of costs or the other. In that way, the rural water supplies also, if you want to enhance, so then that also involved some type of costs. In that way, some type of costs which are intangible, though they may not physically seen, so only the quantum of, so some type of inputs, so which may likely to grow with that, also the nutrition levels, the people's nutrition levels, and the people's health facilities, all these things can be changed. So though there are some type of, so intangible costs, so which are associated with that, apart from that, the intangible benefits will also accrue out of that. So that is what I want to say. How many children will enroll in new schools, how many homes will benefit from a better system of water supply, how many infants will be saved because of more rural clinics, etc. Direct versus indirect costs and benefits. Direct costs and benefits are easier to identify. Direct benefits and costs are those which are closely related to the execution and objectives of the projects. This is what the most important thing which you have to remember, friends. Direct costs and indirect costs, direct benefits and indirect benefits. So these are very, very important. These depending upon how closely you are related to the execution of the project and what are the objectives of the project which you have framed. The direct benefits are a project return to the money value of goods and services generated if the project is executed perfectly. The direct benefits of an education project might be considered as the increase in earning of the individuals participating in the project. Direct costs are all the construction costs, operating and maintenance costs incurred over the life of the project. The direct cost of an education project consists of teachers' salaries, cost of buildings, and teaching aids. The indirect benefits and costs are identified as those which are the byproducts or side effects of the project. The indirect benefits of an irrigation project may appear in the form of less soil erosion, and indirect cost may take form of diversion of water from the production activities. So, okay, these are the activities which can give the direct and indirect cost and benefits. Finally, the secondary costs and benefits. So, how they are coming when implementing the project. The agriculture projects often lead to creation of benefits and costs outside the project area. Such type of costs and benefits are called secondary costs and benefits. So this is what you have to understand. The economic analysis of a project should account for secondary costs and benefits together with the direct costs and benefits. These costs and benefits are, however, not considered in case of financial analysis. Incorporating secondary costs or benefits in project analysis can be viewed as an analytical device to account for the value added that arises outside the project but is a result of the project investment. Yes. Every item is valued either at its opportunity cost or at a value determined by a consumer's willingness to pay for the item. So, though using shadow prices based on opportunity costs or willingness to pay greatly reduces the difficulty of dealing with secondary costs and benefits, there still remain many valuation problems related to goods and services, so commonly traded in competitive markets. One way to avoid some of these problems is to treat a group of closely related investments as a single project. For example, it is common to consider the output of irrigation projects as the increased farm production, since valuing irrigation water is difficult. So these are the secondary costs and benefits which may likely to avoid to some extent, or so which may give so benefits so to some extent. So these are all the project when you are implementing the project. So how you, what are the steps which are involved in it? So what are the benefits, what are the costs which are involved, how you are preparing, how you are monitoring, how you are evaluating. So these are all the steps so which you have learned today, because the project is, every moment is a project time. Okay, so that's what you have to remember, friends. So with these words, so I am stopping here. So friends, so is there any questions? So please welcome. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Ha, sir. So
Yeah.
today's session is over, sir.
Yeah, it is over. But let them, if any people ask questions, then I'll able to
Okay.
answer.
Okay.
Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for the presentation.
Yes, Mohammed.
Yeah, yes, I would this project generally.
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Muhammad.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. Now it is okay.
Okay,
Yes.
sir. I want to ask, what's the duration? Can we term a project as a long term, and for what duration can we
Project
term?
up to 15 years. Up to 15 years. The perspective plan. So you can formulate any project. Okay.
What I'm saying, sir, is
Hmm.
what duration can you term a project as a short term,
It
and
short
what duration can
term
you
that
term it as a
yeah,
long term?
yeah, that is what I am telling you. So short term, it depends on the objective. Basically, whatever the time is different. Time it will come second step. First of all, what is your objective of that project which you are going to do it? That will explain the project time, project cost. So how you have to do it, how many steps will take place, what are the steps which are important, which are priority oriented, how it can be framed, how it can be monitored, how it can be evaluated, how it can be executed. All these things will come on the basis of your objective of the project. What is your problem? So the problem will explain about the objective. Okay. So to achieve the problem, objectives can be framed. So that is why, so first of all, you have to be clear in your mind what is the problem. Statement of the problem is it must be clear. So based on that, you can frame the objective. Then you can see the time. Okay, time is so limitless. Okay, you can frame. So then the each and every project, how you can so frame formulate. If you want immediate results and immediately you want to complete the project, that can also be done. So if you want to extend the project and if you want to keep on so chasing so different type of aspects in that, so then that also can be framed. So in that way there are several ways so to so formulate the project. Ultimately it depends upon how objective, so what type of objective which you are framing, how intensive that problem is, so how that problem can be resolved. So that depends, the time
Thank
will
you very much.
decide. Yes.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
doctor. So,
Okay.
if I now on understanding that agricultural project,
Yes. Yes.
I have a bit of uncertainty in terms of input cost and
Yeah.
expected output based on
Yeah, yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
conditions.
Yes. Suppose
Is
so
there
if you are interested to grow some crop, what is the crop time? Okay, minimum it may be 3 months, it may be 6 months, it may be 1 year. Like that, there are crops. Which crop you want to grow and which crop you want to yield good results, it depends. Okay, that is
okay,
the
sir?
when the sowing to up to the good results. So the output level which it reaches to you, that is the in between is the project time. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. We are very clear, sir.
Mm.
I wanted
Yes.
asking, sir,
Mm.
based
Mm.
on measurement and evaluation, since
Ah,
uh, since agricultural projects are
yes.
not always predictable due to a
Yeah.
lot of factors, is
Yeah.
there a plate that we can use at
Mm.
every step of our project implementation to
Yeah.
evaluate the
Yes.
progress? Is there a
Yes. Yes.
template?
Yes, you can do it. Midterm appraisal, you can do it because initially, when you are preparing the plan, okay, so you have some target, okay, this is a crop which I want to grow within the stipulated time. So during in between, you have to evaluate or you can appraisal, you have to conduct. So far, what type of costs I have incurred, so what exactly the progress of work which is going on, how the crop is taking place, whether it is coming up in a good manner or not. So these things can be appraised, whether water resources are available or the climatic conditions are favorable to it, or the so fertilizer and pesticides components are so keep on going continuously or time and again. So these things you have to appraise and while looking about the that type of crop. So if the crop is reaping in a good manner, then there is no problem. Your efforts are keep on continuing in a production manner. So if the crop is not coming up well, you have to put more efforts. That is what your appraisal will say, that yes, so if you put some more efforts, some more costs on the type of crop, then you may get good results. Like that, your appraisal may likely to give the answer to you. Okay, so in that way you can
Yeah, thank you very
evaluate.
much, Doctor.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, thank you.
very clear. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes. So anything else?
So thank you for sir for
Ah,
the time is already
yeah,
over, sir.
yes, yes, yes.
And Nishant, we may stop recording now.
Okay,
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much
okay,
for
thank
today's
you
session.
very much.
And thank you everybody for participation.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you very
Very much,
much.
Doctor.
Yeah.